Morning, everybody. It is Friday at 10:30, and this is CEO Chat, and this is my partner and good friend, Joe Asamendi.
And you are Alcini, my partner and good friend, too.
It's always a pleasure working with you.
Yeah.
Fridays are special because of you.
Well, thank you.
And me. But mostly Leo.
Right.
We have a great guest, Leo Levinson, who is the CEO of GroupLevinson, which is a public relations firm in Philadelphia.
Well,
so, Leo,
thank you.
Welcome to the program.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, good.
So great to get to know you. Listen, it's the 21st century, and PR isn't what it used to be. I know we were just talking before the program. You've been in the PR business for a long time.
Yes, I have.
You said you were a Wharton grad, and before you graduated Wharton, you started your company.
We were not only started, but we had an office on Chestnut Street, and we were full speed ahead.
Really?
With the staff.
That's pretty impressive.
That's right.
Yeah.
And now Group Levinson is 13 years old, but
Yes.
your experience goes way back further than that.
Yes, into the 70s.
Okay.
Why don't we start with this? The whole idea of public relations and how people get to know somebody is really pretty different in the 21st century than it was in the 20th, isn't it?
It is. In many ways, it's largely because of social media and its effect as a distribution device for information. And so one can use things like LinkedIn or blogs or Twitter to get the message out. And so ideally, one should, traditionally, public relations was you write a press release, you get a story, you send it out to the media, and maybe they'll write about it, maybe they won't. Now there are ways, whether the media wants to or not, that you can get your message out and make it effective for people.
And that's something you guys do.
Yes, it is.
So that's the, you mentioned a topic that comes up a lot, and I don't think anybody really understands it. It's nice to be talking to somebody who actually does.
Thank you.
Thought leadership. Tell us a little bit about that and what that really means.
Well, for us, thought leadership helps unknown experts become known. But even more importantly for CEOs is it helps in marketing for the prolonged close.
Okay.
Often, most people, when they look at marketing or advertising or promotion, their whole goal is leads or numbers or closed sales. But that isn't always the only thing that one needs or one should go after. Because if your product is something that takes months or even years to close, so you meet a lead, you maybe ultimately get a pitch to the lead, maybe they're not ready to move forward and it takes months before you can close the deal. Sure, you can continue to harass them and send them emails, checking in, trying to get things going.
How's it going? Right.
But the bigger way
I've sent a few of those emails, by the way.
as we all have, as we all have. But the bigger thing is to keep that person interested and enthusiastic, and even enhance your knowledge and your expertise in their mind. And so they can do this with what we call a thought leadership campaign, which is a fusion of public relations, speaking, and social media.
It's also building your company's brand up, correct?
Well, it starts with the brand, and it's important for companies to have a defined brand and know what it is, but also it's important to differentiate that brand and make it meaningful. So the thing about thought leadership that makes that work is that the brand truly can be enhanced, so that if you're an accountant or if you make a valve that a number of other companies make that same or a similar product, the thought leadership aspect can underscore differences that make it more valuable for you. So over time, your customers and the market and the industry will appreciate that, will understand that.
That's, it's funny, as you were speaking, I was thinking everybody, I think, another misconception is that marketing really is about coming up with a compelling lie that you can tell people, right? I mean, really, that's it. Like, how do we come up with a clever, compelling lie? But when you're talking about the long close, when you're talking about the prolonged sales cycle, you really can't afford to lie. You pretty much have to tell the truth all the time, don't you?
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. And you absolutely. I mean, I certainly bristle at the concept, which is a popular concept. And I'm glad to have an opportunity to kind of dispute it. But the best advertising is genuine, and the best public relations is genuine, real, honest, and that's what really resonates with customers and clients. So that when you're trying to put a message across that really isn't genuine and it isn't an honest picture, then people in this media world are very quick to understand.
They're going to figure that out.
That it's phony.
They're
It's
going to
hard
see.
put
They're going to see
something-
through that, and they're going to make a story out of it.
That's right.
And that's not going to be to your benefit.
No, no.
So it's not about creating thought leaders. So it's about taking a thought leader, discovering that thought leadership, and then letting the world know, helping them discover this person.
Sure. Well, there are a lot of as we call them, unknown experts who operate within their niche and do very, very well. But their focus, their specialty, their niche, and their business could benefit from broadening the message to a larger audience, whether it's in the region or around the country or even around the world. And also with the technology of things like keywords, people around the country and around the world are looking for specific keywords. So if they're following you on Twitter and they're following a certain word that might be a word that you too was relevant to you,
Right.
They'll find you and they probably will follow you to hear what you have to say on that
What you have
topic.
to say.
So it's a cheap, easy, valuable way of getting new people to follow you and to be engaged with you. Overall, you're building your own community so that you find either like-minded people or people within your industry, and the best posts are not necessarily you telling them we make this, or we're putting a sale on for this, or we're the greatest at this, but to create conversations with people that create engagement, and also reposting to broaden the market to people.
Yeah, sometimes it's better to have a better messenger than just a message.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
It's not just the slogan, the tagline. It's about that conversation that goes on for a period of time, that somebody that's driven by curiosity and need.
Yes.
You know, and when I associate you, because as we're speaking, Leo, I'm associating you with solving the problem of getting your name out there.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
because you're a thought leader in that field, if I want to have a conversation later about getting something out in front of people, it's much more likely I'll give you a call because I've associated you with that need.
Yes, yes. But the difference is money, in that no client, not even Coca-Cola or IBM, has unlimited funds to spend on marketing.
Right.
And so you could be a client like Geico, for example, who is on every billboard, every commercial, and they certainly get the name out there. Everybody knows Geico and knows their slogan and their tagline.
Sure.
But what do you do when you don't have a whole lot of money and you need to, you run a manufacturing plant or a franchise operation or have a law firm or something like that? How do you get the message out? And today's technology with social media, digital advertising, and public relations publicity enables you to do that at an affordable price for pretty much any business.
That sets up a great conversation. Speaking on behalf of Joe, who is wanted in 12 states, but only known in a few. If you wanted to work with somebody like Joe or with me, let's say, if we were your client, where would we start in this process of becoming thought leaders and you helping us establish that?
Well, the start is often with the brand, as you were saying, Joe. So we want to understand what makes you different and what is interesting about your practice and your life, and And so we begin with a couple of hours of exploratory Q&A session where we ask you all kinds of things about you and what you do and what your interests are and who your competition is and how they promote themselves. And then once we understand that, we might then create your brand message if that was part of the project. Or if you already have a brand message, then we would create a thought leadership program consisting of publicity, getting your name in print, on broadcast, on blogs and many other areas, ghostwriting and posting social media, and also getting you speaking engagements in front of relevant people, whether it's community organizations or national conventions of organizations or conferences and the like. So those three components are the key components of a thought leadership program.
I
How
think
long
that's-
does an engagement normally last between an organization and your company?
Well, it should be forever.
Right,
So,
okay.
I mean, it's important to kind of give things maybe a 6-month
Okay.
trial because you start to see things ramp up, you make inroads. We have a lot of connections, so there are a lot of people we can call and make things happen sooner, but really 6 to 12 months is, it gives you a good time to really understand what it is you're...
Do you work on a retainer then?
We do. In fact, our company typically creates a flat fee so that, since it's my own company, and we have about a dozen people in Center City, Philadelphia, what I do is I gauge a flat fee and try to make it not to exceed. So I think businesses in particular, like to have control over their numbers.
Right.
And when, say, I'm not to put down lawyers, but when you get your bill from your lawyer and all of a sudden it's 3 hours or 10 hours and you don't really know where it's going to be, it really makes you nervous about where it's going to be or even calling the person. Whereas with me, you're going to pay a flat fee no matter what. You can budget for it. It's not going to exceed
I know that
it.
that's then my number every month.
And
so
that's your number every month.
Yeah.
And that way you will feel more inclined to call me and tell me, I just did this, or we got this kind of a sale. I want you to be, I want to communicate. I want to be proactive in your life.
No, that's. I mean, I want to talk. We need to take a break. But when we come back after these messages, we'll talk with Leo Levinson a lot more about how you get your name out, how his company can help you make that difference. We'll start making connections between you and the people who watch our program so that you can figure out a way to connect with them and help them.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after these messages.
Say we've got grit, and we'll take it as a compliment. Because it's our uncommon drive, our spark within, that brings us together and sets us apart. We are temple made. And when others take shortcuts, when others take breaks, when others take the easy way, we take charge.
Add us on social media to watch bloopers, behind-the-scenes footage, previews, and more.
Welcome back to CEO Chat. This is Al Cini.
Is it?
Yes?
Well, it's always a pleasure to see you, Joe Asamendi.
Yes, I am. But our guest here is Leo Levinson of GroupLevinson, PR firm extraordinaire.
Thank you.
Okay, and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Definitely
Great to
welcome
be
back.
here.
You're going to mention the Hiram and Solomon
Yes,
Cigar
I am.
Company?
We are sponsored by Hiram and Solomon Cigar. One of their cigars is the Veiled Prophet.
You just like the name.
And if you,
It's a great name.
and it is. And if you're a cigar smoker, please try one of their cigars. They give great cigars, and you'll never be unhappy with them.
Hiram and Solomon Cigars.com.
Company. So, Leo, you're back.
We're back.
Okay, we're talking about initiating, getting people's names out there, et cetera. Is there any such thing as bad publicity?
That's a good question, and in some ways I would say no, that in most cases there is good publicity, but there are other cases, for example, we have clients in the food industry, and there are very strict laws relating to compliance and food, and sometimes when somebody may find you, you don't want that word
That's
to get out
definitely
if at
something
all
you don't want
possible.
out there.
Right.
So, so there can be bad publicity, but in the most cases, and certainly within the business sense, there's almost always good publicity.
Yeah, and helping companies pretend and protect and defend their reputation is part of what you do too.
Yes.
So reputation management is also something you sometimes need an expert to help with.
That's right. We have a couple of clients in crisis management, and so we help them get proactive in
Deal with
figuring out
things
what
like
could
that.
go wrong,
Right.
and then create a strategy for
Right.
if something goes wrong.
I wanted to, before the break, one of the things I wanted to explore with you is the value of an investment in what you do, because I think a lot of people have a lot of trouble with it. And I mean, I know from personal experience that public relations is a key aspect of gaining traction in any business. For the world to know how wonderful you are, it's not going to be revealed in a divine way by God to anybody. There's work involved in that. There's a science and there's a craft to it. You've been doing it for a long time. Yeah. So people who might be starting up a business might be thinking PR is something I do later, but it's really more something you want to do sooner rather than later if you want to gain altitude quickly.
Yes.
And I want to make that point. So it may be money you didn't expect to have to spend, but it's money well spent.
Yes, it is. With many startups, for example, startups are founded by an engineer or a chemist or somebody who is not necessarily marketing focused, and they find that they're very focused on raising money for their product and to develop that, but often with the right publicity can bring them in front of people who could find them the money, for example,
Right.
or could get them the acceptance that they need. There's the value of investing in public relations is important, because how many times do owners of companies, and especially professional services firm, hear from the client the most dreaded words, "Oh, I didn't know you did that."
Right.
And so
Seriously.
often by developing a public relations program that keeps current clients and customers loyal can be valuable, letting them know about products and services. And so, yes, there's a tremendous amount of value in marketing campaign.
You can deepen your market with your existing customers. You can find new customers you never thought you'd ever find. And actually, with PR, they're kind of finding you. That's the joy of it. The joy of it is every now and then, if people are hearing about you, then someday your phone is going to ring and somebody's going to say, "I just heard this about you."
That's right.
That's
Well,
like a miraculous day.
And that's what the Thought Leadership program does, is it helps create kind of an inflow of leads and customers and thoughts and people who, it also creates an environment leading to closing the sales, so that when your salesmen walk into a meeting, people already know a little bit about you and are comfortable about you. By the way, one other point about this, there's the old saying that John Wanamaker had, that half my advertising's wasted, I just don't know which half.
Right.
So
Got to remember that. That's great.
in today's world, with social media and digital advertising, we provide reports to clients monthly on followers, engagement, and many, many other factors. So there really is no place to hide. And although things aren't necessarily always successful, you know month by month what's successful, what's not successful, so you can change resources and put the resources towards the most successful things and take resources out of wasteful things, which often when you have traditional advertising, you really don't know.
You really don't know. I mean, there's no science to that at all.
No way to track it.
No.
This is, okay, so people out there that are watching the program could be startups who didn't realize that PR is important, might want to make an investment, they should call you. There could be people out there who understand the value of PR, they just don't know how it's done in the 21st century, and maybe they need to make a change. They should give you a call.
Yes.
I'm assuming that first conversation is free to get to know you.
Yes.
So, and later on you'll look into your camera and tell everybody how to reach out to you so we can make that connection.
Okay.
But if I own a company and I've got, let's say, 20 or 30 employees, are you going to be working with me, the owner, or with my marketing people, or how is that going to go?
Well, in that regard, I'm very old school in that I like face-to-face meetings. We try to meet with our clients at least once a month. For clients that are out of the region or even out of the country, we deal with a number of European clients where we're the U.S. voice of those clients. We have Skype meetings every month. But I think it's important to get beyond emails and texts and to really see each other and have a dialogue. And so, yes, in answer to your question, I do try to meet with clients every month, face-to-face, and also with our team that works on that account so that we can really get to know each other very well. That said, for some of the larger enterprise clients, we work with their staff. So they may have a product group or a product manager or president, and but we're very close to our clients.
You know, and then the important thing is that they turn this over to you and you get it done for them. It's not like you coach them.
We do coach them in a lot of ways, but there are a lot of companies in my business that kind of sit around and wait for something to happen. So they wait, so they're hired on a retainer, and then they wait for their client to call them and say, we have some news, write a press release.
Right.
We're very proactive in that regard, in that we will develop articles, news, posts, whether a client tells us or not. In fact, our first client in this thought leadership category about 12 or 13 years ago was a fellow who was in what they call retail construction. They constructed stores for big retail chains. And I would ask him, what are some ideas so that I can write down the post? Because I at the time, I didn't really know the construction industry. And he kept stalling me, and finally it dawned on me that unless I write something down myself, I'm going to lose this account because we're not doing it.
Right.
And so kind of a format was born in that we take the first shot and we ghostwrite articles, we ghostwrite posts, and we give them to the clients and every month, and they approve them mostly, or revise
or tweak them a little bit or whatever. But
and if they want to post or say something that they want, that's fine too.
Right.
But at least the key to success in thought leadership and in public relations is consistency. Because most of our clients, most of your viewers are intelligent people. They can write. They know their business. It's not the brain surgery to write the post. It's the brain surgery to write the post consistently and to know that it's going to be there. And that's the key to success. And that's where we earn the value. Because you get busy on that big project or that big account, all of a sudden you're 3-4 weeks and you haven't posted, And
Well, people are starting to forget.
And people forget.
Yeah, and that's
right.
really kind of it. And see, I've worked with PR firms that kind of breeze along with the breeze. And they're happy to cash your check, absolutely.
Right.
But if you don't call them, they're not going to call you. And that's frustrating. So, I mean, that's a tremendous amount of added value on your part, just getting out there and making sure that things are happening.
Yes.
And, you can't overstress the value of that. I've been there, so I know what that means.
Well, that's a big differentiator for us is being proactive. So we try to know your business so well that we can start to advise you on things to promote, on messages to get out there. In 2 words, the difference between Group Levinson Public Relations and other firms is business acumen.
Okay.
In that most other ad agencies and PR firms do pretty pictures or wait around until you tell them the news.
Right.
But we are in there, we try to understand what your business is, what you're trying to sell, what you're trying to grow, and we suggest tips and ideas on how to make that happen.
It's
that's
Wednesday,
important.
we need a post, right?
That's important because in the age of instant gratification, so to speak, you have to be in for the long haul. And that's where I think one of
you
your
gotta be
strengths of your
there every
companies.
day.
You're going to be there every day, exactly.
Yes.
I mean, it really is more like farming than hunting. I mean, it's something half your seeds are wasted as a farmer. You just don't know which half.
That's right.
But you got to plant them all. And if you miss any of those dates or don't do any of that work, you're going to go hungry next year.
That's right.
So I just think that's such a huge value add. Now, I'm assuming you've got a fair number of resources, and I know people don't use Rolodexes anymore, but I imagine you've got one that's about 4 feet wide, weighs about 600 pounds. So you're connected with all the news services.
Yes.
Obviously,
Yes.
you know editors, you know about the trade journals. You've got all that stuff. So right away, your wheels start turning as to where you want to place this content, right?
Yeah, that is true. You can never discount the value of a great story because in our early days, decades ago, we didn't have that big Rolodex, so to speak. And so it was important to find the person who could write that story and then to pitch them on why that story would be of value not only to them, but to their viewers
Right.
or their readers. So the good story is good, the Rolodex is good, but I mean, we gotten, one of our clients is the Philadelphia's Boys Choir, so we do nonprofit as well. And their Christmas concert, they were on the Today Show, they were in parades in Philadelphia, and really get a lot of exposure just by virtue of knowing who to contact and getting them.
And that was something you played a role in, helping them get airtime, helping them get
Yes,
making sure that people who need content know that the content's available there, they can go get it.
That's right.
That connection's wow. Well, we're out of time. And what a great
This
half
was
hour.
fast.
I mean,
Great.
it goes really quickly, doesn't it? Especially when you're talking with a thought leader.
There
Thought
we go.
leaders have a tendency to make the program go quickly.
Thank you.
Take a look in your camera. That's the one straight ahead. Tell everybody how to get a hold of Leo Levinson.
Great. GroupLevinson.com, GroupLevinson.com is our website, and I post a daily marketing tip if you follow me on LinkedIn or on Twitter at LeoAdman. Thanks.
Leo, welcome
pleasure,
again
right.
to CEO Chat. It's great to get to know you. It'll be good going forward to call you friend. I hope when you've
Absolutely.
got people who need a little bit of exposure on a program like CEO Chat, you'll make a recommendation.
Yeah.
We sure will. This was fun.
And in a couple of months, let's get you back for an update. Tell us
Yeah.
what's hot these days, what's going on these days. I think you'd be a great person to come back and visit us every now and then.
Wonderful.
Yeah, please.
Thank you for the
Thank
opportunity.
you, Leo. We learned a lot today, and I think our viewers learned a lot.
A really great episode of CEO Chat. Thanks all of you for joining us today. I'm Alcini,
Joe Osamendi,
and have a great weekend, and we'll see you again next week for another terrific CEO Chat.
be safe out there. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.